What lies ahead beyond the hype? What lies ahead for Litecoin? As the cryptocurrency market continues to evolve at breakneck speed, it's easy to get distracted by every new trend, project or token, promising to revolutionize finance. Blockchain innovations now emerge faster than ever, and the spotlight constantly shifts from NFTs to DeFi, from Web3 to AI-integrated crypto systems. Yet despite the noise, some technologies quietly stay the course, improving steadily in the background. Litecoin is one of them. It doesn't scream for attention, but it moves with purpose. Its past proves its reliability. But what about its future? What makes Litecoin a contender not just for survival, but for long-term significance in the global financial transformation? The answer lies not in marketing gimmicks, but in the coin's core values: efficiency, accessibility, security, and adaptability. Looking ahead, one of Litecoin's greatest strengths is its simplicity. In a market where many projects grow bloated with features that complicate their purpose, Litecoin remains streamlined. This isn't a weakness, it's a competitive advantage. As global adoption of digital payments grows, there will be increasing demand for cryptocurrencies that do one thing well: fast, low-cost, secure transactions. Not everyone needs complex smart contracts or experimental DeFi tools. Millions of users, from small business owners in emerging markets to freelancers working internationally, need dependable, borderless digital cash. Litecoin fills that role with precision. And because it's already widely integrated into payment processors, exchanges, and wallets, it has the infrastructure ready for scale. Technological upgrades are also on the horizon, and they matter more than ever. While Litecoin has never rushed to be the first in line for new tech, it has smartly adopted upgrades that enhance performance and user privacy without compromising network stability. The successful implementation of Mimblewimble via extension blocks is a perfect example. This privacy layer doesn't force confidential transactions on every user, but gives the option to those who want it, striking a balance between transparency and privacy. This direction signals that Litecoin's future development will focus on user choice, modular features, and maintaining compatibility with mainstream platforms and regulations. That's a rare path in crypto, where many projects often swing to extremes. Litecoin also benefits from its positioning as a bridge, both technically and ideologically, between the old financial world and the new. As central banks develop digital currencies and fintech companies roll out their own blockchain solutions, the need for interoperable, neutral digital currencies will rise. Litecoin is poised to act as a liquidity layer, a settlement asset, or a routing channel between ecosystems. It doesn't carry the regulatory baggage of centralized tokens, nor the instability of highly experimental ones. It can be the glue between fiat and decentralized economies, accepted by institutions but still owned and controlled by users. But none of this would matter without people, and the Litecoin community is one of the most crucial elements shaping its future. While small compared to meme armies or fan-driven token tribes, Litecoin's community is built on long-term thinking. These aren't short-term speculators looking to flip profits in a week. They're builders, advocates, developers, and users who care about a better monetary system. This mindset is what keeps Litecoin grounded and growing, even when the market's attention wanders. And in the years to come, it's this grounded approach that may help Litecoin scale in ways that other, louder projects cannot. As we move into the next parts of this chapter, we'll explore specific areas that will shape Litecoin's trajectory in the coming years, from partnerships and market trends to global regulations and economic shifts. Institutions and the silver standard. Will big finance embrace Litecoin? For years, institutional involvement in the cryptocurrency market was more myth than reality. Whispers of hedge funds, family offices, or banks quietly buying Bitcoin while publicly denying its legitimacy. But that changed. The 2020s marked a turning point when institutions began entering crypto markets with growing confidence, seeking both diversification and exposure to the rising tide of digital assets. Bitcoin and Ethereum were the first to catch their attention naturally due to their scale and market dominance. However, as institutions looked beyond the giants, a new wave of scrutiny began, and that's where Litecoin started to re-enter the discussion. No longer just a veteran altcoin, Litecoin began to be recognized as a low-risk, high-liquidity asset with deep roots and significant potential. What attracts institutions to Litecoin isn't flash or hype, it's the fundamentals. Litecoin has a fixed supply, a predictable issuance schedule, and one of the most robust operational histories in all of crypto. It's rarely down, never hacked, and doesn't shift direction every 6 months. For large players who manage billions in assets, that kind of consistency is gold. Litecoin is easy to explain on a balance sheet, fits neatly into a portfolio alongside Bitcoin, and avoids many of the regulatory red flags that plague newer projects. There's no centralized team holding massive prem in bags. There's no uncertain governance system that could flip the protocol overnight. Litecoin is mature, boring, and in the world of institutional investing, boring is often brilliant. We're already seeing the early signs of institutional entry. Products like the Grayscale Litecoin Trust give traditional investors exposure to LTC without the need to hold or manage wallets themselves. Some crypto hedge funds allocate a portion of their portfolios to Litecoin due to its liquidity and long-term upside. And increasingly, financial platforms are listing Litecoin as one of only a few assets available to regulated users. Whether it's PayPal offering Litecoin purchases to retail clients or regulated European investment platforms including it in digital asset baskets, the message is clear. Litecoin is on the short list of cryptocurrencies that pass compliance checks. The real breakthrough, however, may come as institutional infrastructure evolves. Custodial solutions have already improved drastically. Banks and fintech firms now offer enterprise-grade wallet systems and secure cold storage for clients with large holdings. This infrastructure removes the technical friction that once kept institutions away. At the same time, risk management tools, insurance, and clearer tax frameworks are giving institutions the legal and financial safety nets they need to enter crypto with confidence. In this maturing environment, Litecoin has a real chance to shine not as a speculative rocket ship, but as a practical tool for payment rails, settlements, and digital value transfer within a modern investment portfolio. It's worth noting that many of the concerns institutions once had about crypto volatility, security fraud are still valid, but they're learning that not all crypto assets are created equal. Litecoin's clean legal profile, long-term proof-of-work system, and lack of scandals make it one of the more palatable choices for cautious investors. While it may never attract the kind of hype that fuels speculative meme coins or Layer 1 competitors, it doesn't need to. Its value lies in being the stable, credible, low-noise option, a role that's increasingly important as regulators crack down on riskier parts of the industry. One of the most exciting possibilities lies in Litecoin being used not just for investment, but as infrastructure. Institutions looking to settle cross-border transactions quickly and affordably could rely on Litecoin's blockchain instead of outdated Swift rails. Litecoin could serve as a bridge asset in FX markets, a settlement token for tokenized securities, or a payment layer for stablecoins and digital bank money. These are big visions, and they won't materialize overnight. But Litecoin has positioned itself as one of the few assets that could play this role. It's decentralized, fast, cheap, and broadly integrated across both crypto-native and traditional financial systems. If institutional adoption of crypto continues, and all signs suggest it will, then Litecoin may very well become one of the core infracoins of the digital age. It might not make headlines every week. It might not dominate social media. But it could be running quietly behind the scenes, powering value transfer for companies, banks, and platforms that need a trusted network to move money. Rules of the chain: Litecoin in a world of regulation and digital currencies. As cryptocurrency becomes less of a fringe innovation and more of a global financial reality, it's facing a new frontier. Regulation. What started as an experiment in decentralization is now under the microscope of governments, central banks, tax authorities, and law enforcement agencies around the world. While some fear regulation will crush crypto, Others see it as a sign that digital assets are maturing into a legitimate pillar of modern finance. In this shifting landscape, Litecoin stands out not just for its technology, but for its ability to align with regulation without compromising its core values of decentralization and freedom. As governments wrestle with how to define, tax, and regulate crypto, Litecoin's simplicity and transparency may become one of its biggest advantages. Unlike many new tokens, Litecoin doesn't promise profits, dividends, or ownership rights. It wasn't launched through an ICO. There was no pre-mine or central authority distributing tokens. Instead, Litecoin followed the same path as Bitcoin: open source code, public release, and fair mining from day one. This matters a lot in a legal context. Regulatory bodies like the SEC in the United States have cracked down on tokens that resemble unregistered securities, especially those launched with fundraising mechanisms. Litecoin sidesteps this entirely. It's generally viewed as a commodity, like Bitcoin, a decentralized asset without a controlling entity. That gives Litecoin a cleaner legal profile, one that's easier for institutions, exchanges, and payment providers to work with. The global regulatory climate is constantly evolving. Some countries have embraced crypto, passing clear rules to encourage innovation while protecting users. Others have gone the opposite route, imposing bans or harsh restrictions. In this uneven terrain, Litecoin's neutral and compliant nature gives it adaptability. It's already legal to buy, sell, or hold Litecoin in most major economies. In places like the US, Canada, the EU, Japan, South Korea, and Australia, Litecoin operates freely on licensed exchanges and payment platforms. This gives it a level of access that many newer projects can't achieve, especially those with legal baggage or complex tokenomics that make classification difficult. But regulation isn't just about legality, it's about usability in a regulated world. One of the biggest developments on the horizon is the rise of central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. These are government-backed digital versions of fiat currencies like the US dollar, euro, or rupee. While CBDCs won't replace cryptocurrencies, they will change the way people interact with money. In this new world, users will move between decentralized crypto, CBDCs, and possibly tokenized assets like stocks or real estate. Litecoin, with its speed, reliability, and deep integration into payment infrastructure, could become one of the most useful bridges between these systems. It's neutral, not tied to any one nation, and open to anyone, which makes it an ideal counterpart to closed, centralized digital currencies. At the same time, Litecoin's optional privacy features, like those introduced through the Mimblewimble extension blocks, will test the balance between user freedom and government oversight. Privacy is a double-edged sword in crypto. Users want it, regulators fear it. Litecoin's approach is unique because it doesn't force privacy on every transaction, but gives users the choice. This may allow it to comply with regulations while still respecting individual rights. In a future where governments demand more transparency, but people demand more control over their data, Litecoin's flexible privacy model could prove to be a smart middle ground. Another key point is that Litecoin doesn't rely on complex governance systems. It doesn't have on-chain voting, treasury allocations, or DAO politics. Decisions about upgrades are made through community consensus and developer coordination, not token-weighted votes or centralized boards. This simplicity makes it easier to maintain protocol stability and avoid legal complications that arise from governance-related securities issues. It also keeps Litecoin focused on its core function, being usable money, rather than turning into a pseudo-corporate experiment. Over the next decade, global politics will continue to shape how cryptocurrencies are treated. Financial surveillance is increasing. Data privacy is becoming a battleground. Economic inequality is fueling demand for alternative financial systems. In this context, Litecoin represents a rare combination of stability, legality, and freedom. It offers people a way to opt out of slow, expensive, and often unfair banking systems without stepping into the legal gray areas that come with more experimental or risky crypto projects. Litecoin's future in a regulated world will depend not just on its technology, but on its ability to communicate clearly, comply smartly, and deliver value without compromising on principles. So far, it's done that remarkably well. And as the rules continue to be written, Litecoin has a strong chance of not just surviving, but becoming a model for how decentralized money can thrive under modern law. Litecoin and the next financial era: freedom, access, and the digital borderless economy. The world is entering a new phase of economic transformation, one that goes far beyond just moving money online. This next era isn't just about faster payments or better banking apps. It's about redefining who controls value, who can access it, and how it moves across borders in real time. As technology begins to dominate every corner of our financial lives, from CBDCs and biometric IDs to AI-driven credit systems and algorithmic tax enforcement, people are waking up to a pressing truth. The more connected the financial system becomes, the more centralized it risks becoming. In that world, assets like Litecoin don't just offer convenience, they offer resistance. They become tools for digital self-defense, ways to opt out, take back control, and participate in the economy on your own terms. Unlike fiat systems that require permission and compliance to even open a basic account, Litecoin demands nothing. There's no application process, no background checks, no government-issued ID. All you need is a phone and an internet connection, and you're part of the global economy. That sounds simple, but in parts of the world where banking is inaccessible or untrustworthy, it's revolutionary. Litecoin isn't just an investment or a payment tool. It's infrastructure for economic freedom. In regions where inflation wipes out savings, where remittances are heavily taxed, or where political instability locks people out of the financial system, Litecoin becomes not just an option, but a lifeline. The role of Litecoin in this new economy also extends to digital trade. As more business moves online, from freelancers selling services to artists selling digital work, the need for fast, borderless, trustworthy payment systems continues to grow. Litecoin is already used in peer-to-peer transactions, gig platforms, and online marketplaces. But its potential goes further, enabling micropayments, subscription models, royalty splits, and more. And because it has extremely low transaction costs, it can support payments that would be impractical through traditional systems, like sending a few cents per view, per click, or per unit of attention. These small, instant transactions, if made easy and global, could open entirely new models for creators, educators, developers, and everyday entrepreneurs in both rich and poor countries. As artificial intelligence, automation, and data-based economies advance, control over money will become one of the central battles of our time. Governments will digitize everything: identity, citizenship, licenses, voting rights, and most importantly, currency. And while that may bring efficiency, it also opens the door to surveillance, overreach, and exclusion. If money can be turned off, frozen, taxed in real time, or directed by algorithms, then freedom becomes fragile. Litecoin offers a counterweight. Its decentralized architecture means no one can stop you from using it. Its public, transparent ledger ensures more control over their data. Litecoin's flexible privacy model could prove to be a smart middle ground. Another key point is that Litecoin doesn't rely on complex governance systems. It doesn't have on-chain voting, treasury allocations, or DAO politics. Decisions about upgrades are made through community consensus and developer coordination, not token-weighted votes or centralized boards. This simplicity makes it easier to maintain protocol stability and avoid legal complications that arise from governance-related securities issues. It also keeps Litecoin focused on its core function, being usable money, rather than turning into a pseudo-corporate experiment. Over the next decade, global politics will continue to shape how cryptocurrencies are treated. Financial surveillance is increasing. Data privacy is becoming a battleground. Economic inequality is fueling demand for alternative financial systems. In this context, Litecoin represents a rare combination of stability, legality, and freedom. It offers people a way to opt out of slow, expensive, and often unfair banking systems without stepping into the legal gray areas that come with more experimental or risky crypto projects. Litecoin's future in a regulated world will depend not just on its technology, but on its ability to communicate clearly, comply smartly, and deliver value without compromising on principles. So far, it's done that remarkably well. And as the rules continue to be written, Litecoin has a strong chance of not just surviving, but becoming a model for how decentralized money can thrive under modern law. Litecoin and the next financial era: freedom, access, and the digital borderless economy. The world is entering a new phase of economic transformation, one that goes far beyond just moving money online. This next era isn't just about faster payments or better banking apps. It's about redefining who controls value, who can access it, and how it moves across borders in real time. As technology begins to dominate every corner of our financial lives, from CBDCs and biometric IDs to AI-driven credit systems and algorithmic tax enforcement, people are waking up to a pressing truth. The more connected the financial system becomes, the more centralized it risks becoming. In that world, assets like Litecoin don't just offer convenience, they offer resistance. They become tools for digital self-defense, ways to opt out, take back control, and participate in the economy on your own terms. Unlike fiat systems that require permission and compliance to even open a basic account, Litecoin demands nothing. There's no application process, no background checks, no government-issued ID. All you need is a phone and an internet connection, and you're part of the global economy. That sounds simple, but in parts of the world where banking is inaccessible or untrustworthy, it's revolutionary. Litecoin isn't just an investment or a payment tool. It's infrastructure for economic freedom. In regions where inflation wipes out savings, where remittances are heavily taxed, or where political instability locks people out of the financial system, Litecoin becomes not just an option, but a lifeline. The role of Litecoin in this new economy also extends to digital trade. As more business moves online, from freelancers selling services to artists selling digital work, the need for fast, borderless, trustworthy payment systems continues to grow. Litecoin is already used in peer-to-peer transactions, gig platforms, and online marketplaces. But its potential goes further, enabling micropayments, subscription models, royalty splits, and more. And because it has extremely low transaction costs, it can support payments that would be impractical through traditional systems, like sending a few cents per view, per click, or per unit of attention. These small, instant transactions, if made easy and global, could open entirely new models for creators, educators, developers, and everyday entrepreneurs in both rich and poor countries. As artificial intelligence, automation, and data-based economies advance, control over money will become one of the central battles of our time. Governments will digitize everything: identity, citizenship, licenses, voting rights, and most importantly, currency. And while that may bring efficiency, it also opens the door to surveillance, overreach, and exclusion. If money can be turned off, frozen, taxed in real time, or directed by algorithms, then freedom becomes fragile. Litecoin offers a counterweight. Its decentralized architecture means no one can stop you from using it. Its public, transparent ledger ensures accountability without relying on trust. And its lightweight structure means it works just as well in high-tech cities as it does in areas with slow internet and basic smartphones. Importantly, Litecoin doesn't demand allegiance to any ideology. It doesn't push political rhetoric or force users into a particular belief system. It simply exists, open, permissionless, neutral. That neutrality gives it power. It can be used by someone fleeing a corrupt regime or someone starting an online store. It can help a teenager in India earn money for web design, or a grandmother in Argentina preserve the value of her savings. It can be used to send donations during a crisis or to build complex financial tools for companies. It's a blank canvas, adaptable and silent, yet resilient and global. The next financial era won't be defined solely by apps or APIs. It will be defined by who controls the on-off switch. Litecoin's strength is that it has no switch, no central server, no gatekeeper, just math, code, and community. And as that community grows, not just in number, but in awareness, Litecoin becomes more than a currency. It becomes a statement, a declaration that the right to transact, to save, to build and to send value to others should belong to everyone, not just those approved by institutions. This vision won't come to life overnight, but piece by piece, it's happening. Litecoin continues to be adopted in places where traditional finance fails. It continues to inspire builders, creators, and educators who see the potential of decentralized money not as a trend, but as a necessity. And in a world where most systems are tightening control, Litecoin is quietly expanding access. Litecoin's road ahead: technology, upgrades, and quiet innovation. When people think of innovation in the crypto world, they often imagine bold new chains with radically different designs, experimental features, and ambitious buzzwords. But real innovation doesn't always need to be loud or revolutionary. Sometimes it's about slow, deliberate progress, strengthening the foundation, while the rest of the world chases the next big thing. That's been Litecoin's approach for over a decade, and as the ecosystem grows more complex, that strategy has never looked smarter. Litecoin doesn't race to be first with new features, but it pays close attention to what works, adapting proven technologies in ways that serve real users, not just trends. In the background, the Litecoin development team has quietly pushed forward a roadmap built on performance, security, and trust. One of the most significant technological developments in Litecoin's recent history has been the implementation of Mimblewimble via extension blocks, commonly known as MUEB. This upgrade brought optional privacy to Litecoin, a feature that allows users to keep their transaction amounts confidential while maintaining the public nature of the main blockchain. Mimblewimble wasn't invented by Litecoin developers, but their implementation of it is one of the most successful and secure examples in a major cryptocurrency. Importantly, this privacy is opt-in, meaning the network doesn't sacrifice transparency or compatibility. Users can still use standard transactions for public auditing, while those who value discretion have the ability to shield their balances. It's a nuanced approach in a regulatory environment that fears complete anonymity, but increasingly demands better user data protection. Beyond privacy, Litecoin's continued alignment with Bitcoin's codebase has allowed it to adopt improvements like segregated witness, SegWit, and Lightning Network compatibility. These upgrades improve transaction throughput, reduce fees, and enable second-layer scaling. Because Litecoin processes blocks 4 times faster than Bitcoin, it also serves as a real-world testing ground for technologies that may later be adopted by the broader crypto industry. Developers often experiment on Litecoin before deploying updates on Bitcoin, a dynamic that benefits both chains and keeps Litecoin technologically relevant. The success of this strategy means that Litecoin doesn't have to reinvent the wheel, it simply makes the wheel smoother, faster, and more efficient. Looking forward, Litecoin's development isn't dictated by a central foundation or a powerful CEO. It moves based on community needs, network-wide consensus, and open-source contributions. This decentralized development model may be slower, but it ensures resilience. There's no single point of failure, no founder's ego to derail progress, and no business interests corrupting the protocol. Instead, Litecoin's direction is guided by builders who care deeply about its mission to be fast, global, decentralized digital money. These developers understand that every upgrade must balance innovation with security. Litecoin doesn't make flashy promises, it makes careful improvements. And that's exactly why it has lasted, while so many other coins have faded into obscurity. Future upgrades may focus on improving wallet integration for MWeb, expanding Lightning Network support, optimizing mining performance, or further lowering transaction costs. There are also opportunities to enhance user interfaces, strengthen mobile wallets, and integrate smart bridge technologies that connect Litecoin with other blockchains. While Litecoin is unlikely to become a full smart contract platform like Ethereum, lightweight scripting upgrades or atomic swap capabilities could expand its role in the decentralized finance ecosystem. The key is that these upgrades won't come just for the sake of change. They will arrive when they're needed, when they're tested, and when they benefit the long-term health of the network. The larger vision for Litecoin's tech evolution isn't to become the biggest or the flashiest. It's to become the most usable, most stable, and most trusted transactional coin in the world. A coin that simply works every time, for anyone, anywhere. It may not grab headlines, but it grabs attention where it matters. From developers building real tools, from platforms needing reliable crypto payment rails, and from users who just want to send value without friction. That focus on functionality over fame is what sets Litecoin apart, and it's the reason its technology roadmap, while quieter than most, is one of the most dependable in crypto. The big picture. Why Litecoin still matters and always might. As the digital age rushes forward, with endless noise, innovation, and reinvention, it's easy to forget the importance of quiet consistency. In a space defined by volatility and rapid transformation, Litecoin stands like a steady current beneath the waves, not resisting change, but guiding it with patience, purpose, and precision. It doesn't try to be the loudest project or the most experimental. It doesn't chase trends or build hype with empty promises. Instead, Litecoin has chosen a different path, a slower one, a more deliberate one, but perhaps the most valuable one of all. It has chosen to be usable, durable, and honest. And in doing so, it's built something rare in crypto: trust. That trust is rooted not in personalities or marketing, but in track record. Litecoin has worked for over a decade without fail. It's processed billions in value, served millions of users, and supported thousands of merchants, all without changing its core mission. It has never been hacked, never been taken offline, never compromised its code for short-term gain. In a world where headlines are dominated by project collapses, insider scandals, and regulatory takedowns, that kind of integrity is more than admirable, it's necessary. For those looking to build a future with decentralized tools, Litecoin represents a foundation they can rely on. Not a gamble, not a cult, just a solid system that does exactly what it promises. As we move into a future shaped by digital surveillance, algorithmic finance, and increasingly centralized control over personal data and money, the importance of alternatives like Litecoin will only grow. It's not just about profit or portfolio balance. It's about freedom of choice. It's about giving individuals the ability to send, store, and spend value on their own terms, without needing permission from banks, governments, or platforms. Litecoin's neutrality, its lack of agenda, is what makes it powerful. It isn't tied to a specific nation, ideology, or company. It simply exists as a tool for anyone, anywhere. And tools like that are what make real freedom possible in the digital age. The future of Litecoin won't be decided by flashy roadmaps or viral tweets. It will be decided by people, the developers who keep the code secure, the merchants who adopt it for real-world use, the miners who power the network, and the users who choose it because it simply works. It will be shaped by the unseen moments: the father sending money home to his family, the artist getting paid instantly for her work, the student saving in crypto to escape inflation. These stories won't make headlines, but they're real, and they're what keep Litecoin alive, block by block, day by day. In the years to come, Litecoin may never be the #1 coin by market cap. It may never be the center of the latest crypto trend, but it doesn't have to be. Its strength lies in something deeper: persistence. Litecoin has already weathered more storms than most projects ever will. And it's done so without drama, without bailout, and without compromise. That alone speaks volumes in a space where survival is itself a form of success. So what is Litecoin's future? It's a currency that you can count on, a system that won't be turned off, a network that exists for everyone. It's not trying to take over the world. It's simply trying to make it easier for people to live, trade, save, and connect without friction, without permission, and without fear. That's a vision worth holding on to. And that's why Litecoin still matters, not just today, but tomorrow, and for as long as people need money that truly belongs to them. The battle with scalability. As Litecoin matured, it couldn't ignore the whispers growing louder in the blockchain world: the issue of scalability. With crypto adoption increasing steadily, the limitations of block sizes, confirmation speeds, and network congestion became undeniable. Litecoin, though faster and lighter than Bitcoin, still had hurdles to overcome when it came to efficiently handling larger volumes of transactions without bloating the chain or compromising its decentralization. Developers began to explore solutions like segregated witness, SegWit, which had already been a landmark upgrade in the Litecoin timeline. But this time, attention shifted to off-chain scaling. Innovations like the Lightning Network. This concept, once a futuristic vision, was now being tested, debated, and gradually implemented. It allowed transactions to occur off-chain in microchannels and then settle on-chain only when necessary, dramatically improving speed and reducing fees. Litecoin, being flexible and technically nimble, became a key network for experimentation and implementation of Lightning. These advancements weren't just about speed. They were a step toward bringing real-time microtransactions to reality. It meant you could one day pay for a cup of coffee instantly with Litecoin, without worrying about delay or cost. It was this futuristic yet grounded approach that made Litecoin not just a cryptocurrency, but a continuously evolving infrastructure for global digital finance. Integration and the real-world touch. The success of any digital currency depends on more than its code or ideology. It's about real-world usability. In the mid-2020s, Litecoin saw a quiet revolution take root. More vendors began accepting it. From niche online stores to major e-commerce platforms and even local cafes, Litecoin's presence expanded across global markets. Payment processors like BitPay and CoinGate made it easier than ever for businesses to accept LTC, while mobile wallets and POS systems simplified customer use. Simultaneously, ATM integration surged. Litecoin ATMs appeared in shopping malls, airports, and gas stations. People didn't have to be crypto-savvy anymore to use Litecoin. They could just walk up, scan a QR code, and access their money in seconds. This tangibility mattered. Crypto often lived in the abstract, but Litecoin began bridging that gap, becoming visible, touchable, and practical. Its speed, low fees, and stability made it a favorite in countries dealing with inflation or limited banking services. More than speculation or hodling, Litecoin was finally being used the way it was always meant to be, as real money. It was no longer just part of your portfolio, it was part of your life.